Hey guys, thank you for watching the SlatRock channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And if you've already done so, just make sure that it's still active. Guys, today we present you with 9 controversial remarks wrestlers recently made about WWE. Number 9. Booker T tears into James Ellsworth. Every so often, the WWE will manage to strike gold with a random and dumb gimmick that, for some reason or other, just works. One of the most recent examples is longtime indie wrestler James Ellsworth. Ellsworth was brought in to be squashed by Braun Strowman on an episode of Raw. It didn't take long for the man with 2 hands to prove that he had no chance after all, but fans loved him. WWE brought him on board and he was a member of the main roster during 2016 and 2017. While he was released in November of 2017, he recently made a return to join back up with SmackDown Women's Champion Carmella and help her retain her title. Fans may have loved Ellsworth, but some wrestlers weren't as happy with him. Booker T went on record to say he was sick of Ellsworth, that the story and the idea had been pushed beyond its peak, and that Ellsworth needed to return to the Indies as fast as possible. Booker also displayed some frustration with the WWE themselves, claiming that they would sign someone like Ellsworth, but the talented people working at his indie promotion, The Reality of Wrestling, can't get a foot in the door despite being much more talented. Shots fired? That's up to you. Number 8. Jim Cornette bashes bad writing and wasting developing indie talents. If we really wanted to, we could put together a list of dozens of times that Jim Cornette took out his frustrations on the WWE. He is definitely the king of tearing into WWE. Some of his latest remarks were on a series of topics, including the bad writing. Cornette says that these days, creative writers produce scripts for superstars and then essentially put a face to the script. This is different to how things were back in his day, when specific scripts were written for specific wrestlers rather than this randomized scripting. Cornette had another pet peeve, including how WWE was handling indie talents. He claims that they waste too much time on developing wrestlers in NXT that already have the talents to work on the main roster. He thought how long Finn Balor was in NXT was laughable when he was ready to be put on the main roster the day he was hired. Number 7. Shane Helms bashes road agents. Stephanie McMahon made it clear to Shane Helms that the road agents were his biggest critics. The agents wrote detailed reports and sent them to Stephanie McMahon, who was unable to attend each individual show for obvious reasons. Basically, no matter how hard someone works and how well the crowd responds to them, none of it matters. What matters was what the road agents report. Helms went on to bash said road agents, claiming that they were all afraid for their future and were walking on eggshells. He also claimed that most road agents were people who never got over themselves, so it was odd to take their advice on how to do it. It didn't make sense to Helms to listen to people who couldn't get over. He would turn to Arn Anderson for advice about what to do in the ring, but not for promo ideas. Helms said the idea of agents working with the wrestlers is flawed, and something has to be done about it because the current system makes no sense. Number 6. Scott Steiner says WWE treats workers like crap. Given that Scott Steiner is now running his own restaurant these days, you'd figure he might stop bashing the WWE. It doesn't seem he'll stop anytime soon, though. Steiner has made his opinions clear several times, in particular his feelings towards Triple H. This time, Steiner criticized the way that WWE handles their employees. Steiner used Rey Mysterio, a man he considers a personal friend, and CM Punk as examples. Steiner claimed that the WWE gets away with how they treat the wrestlers because they are the monopoly right now. It's either WWE or nothing. Scott says that they can choose to release someone anytime they want, and that it's made even easier because there's no competition. They don't need to worry about their stars appearing for someone else. Several other former wrestlers have criticized how the company behaves before, and considering the things Scott said, he could have a point this time. There is no competition for the WWE right now, and this has left the company able to flex their muscles whenever and however they want. Number 5. John Morrison says Raw is too long. It must have been tough for the WWE to watch John Morrison walk away from them. He was a talented worker and gave several years of great service to the WWE in their mid-card. Ultimately, Morrison would see himself as a bigger star than the WWE did, as they refused to let him be the guy. He felt it was in his best interests to leave the company after spending several years there. Morrison has become a major character on Lucha Underground since leaving WWE. He's also claimed that their product is much better than WWE. He took potshots at the WWE by saying that their show is far too long, which leads to storylines going all over the place. Lucha Underground, on the other hand, is just an hour long. They follow their stories closely week to week, unlike WWE, which feels like a madhouse at times as stories come and go at the drop of a hat. Number 4. Lance Hoyt criticizes WWE backstage politics. If you turned your head away for just a second, you probably missed the run that Lance Hoyt had with WWE. He is most known for the time he spent on the indies for companies such as New Japan, Noah, TNA, and Global Force Wrestling. He would have a brief stint in the WWE though, debuting as Vance Archer on WWE CW. The gimmick proved to be an instant flop and his contract would be terminated after a short run as a member of SmackDown. Lance took the time to talk about his brief run with the WWE, blaming backstage politics for his failure to do anything. Hoyt claims that if someone so much as looks at someone the wrong way, it could destroy your career and even get you fired without knowing or having anyone tell you anything. He said that it was a shame and that backstage politics are part of the business, especially within WWE. Number 3. Ryback talks about broken promises and pay inequalities. There was some controversy when Ryback suddenly left the WWE. The big guy was involved in several disputes behind the scenes. One such dispute was over broken promises made by Vince and the creative team. Ryback claims that they promised him some pretty big things, but that these promises never materialized. Ryback even claimed that he was penciled in to destroy the phenomenal one AJ Styles in a singles match. The constant broken promises and lies led to Ryback walking away from the company. Another issue he had was that of the pay he was getting. Ryback feels that all wrestlers should be paid equally given that professional wrestling is predetermined. Looking at the way WWE feels about this and their history with the idea of wrestler unions, it's obvious the company has no intentions of ever adopting such a policy. Despite all the harsh criticisms Ryback has made, many feel that he will make a return to the company someday. Number 2. Batista bashes the PG era. Batista was a guest on the Chris Jericho podcast and opened up to Jericho about the main reason that he left WWE for good. Batista says that the reason he left the company was because of their decision to go all the way PG. He says that they went against everything they used to be and that they lost their art form when they did this. Batista claims the WWE robbed wrestlers of their tools. He says that the banning of blood in particular limited what wrestlers could do in their matches and hurt the company as a whole. Batista would go on to attack the current crop of WWE talent for the way that they don't question what the WWE has for them or gives them. Batista referenced his time in the company, saying it was a focal point of his to turn down anything creative had for him that he didn't like. This seems something of a lost art, as most WWE wrestlers do anything that gets thrown their way. Number 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin bashes current wrestlers and says wins and losses don't matter. Steve Austin has been known to criticize the current WWE product on his weekly podcast. One recent complaint Austin had was how the WWE handles wins and losses. He says that wins and losses don't matter as much as they did back in the 90s when the company was at their height. Austin said winning and losing matches was supposed to be a big deal to a wrestler, but these days it just feels like wrestlers trade wins and losses, and it's just a waste of time and talent. Even fans are critical of this booking, calling it 50-50 booking. One of the more prominent criticisms Austin had comes from the incredibly awkward interview he had with Dean Ambrose. Austin questioned not just the entire WWE locker room, but took shots at having Ambrose be the champion. Steve said that no one on the roster, including Dean Ambrose, was pushing the envelope anymore. Dean was caught completely off guard at the remark and commented that the company is much different than it was in the 90s, that there are more restrictions placed on wrestlers than ever before. Dean certainly does have a point. One look at his work on the indies before joining the WWE can tell you that. So who was in the right here? Was it Austin or was it Ambrose? Well guys, that's our list. If you can think of any other controversial remarks recently made about the WWE by former talent, leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, please check out our previous video, Top 8 WWE Returns Expected in 2018. And you can also check out our other high-rated videos by clicking at the upper right-hand corner or down in the description field. If you did like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video, and you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And as always, thanks for watching.